not often that the biggest celebrity at the Big Slick softball event is an athlete, but according to some celebs, that'll be the case this year when Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes takes the field. Mahomes shares his thoughts about Big Slick and his celebrity status. Also, Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, speaks from the heart about being a team leader. Chiefs beat writer Brooke Pryor is here to discuss this and more on Sports Beat KC, the sports podcast of the Kansas City Star. I'm your host, Blair Kerkhoff. Hello, Brooke.
Hey, Blair.
I like your t-shirt.
Thanks. I was actually Instagramming about it right now. In case you're wondering how the sausage is really made, I'm wearing a t-shirt that says my favorite broadcaster is Doris Burke, which is true.
I like Doris Burke.
I do too.
She's been so good for a long time.
She has, and I was inspired, because these t-shirts were on sale on the Homage website, which is where I got it. The finals were last night. And I'm going to Awesome, the Association for Women in Sports Media, to that convention next week. So I bought it ahead of the convention because where better to wear that shirt. So, and then today I was like, you know what? I need to break it in. We've been out at OTAs today. The first outfit was just kind of gross. So I did a quick change, and this is my podcasting aesthetic today.
You're a quick change artist.
I am.
That you are.
I try.
We should establish that it's a Thursday afternoon, and we have witnessed our last OTA of 2019.
How will we ever go on?
The organized team activities are finished. Those went on for I think 3.5 years.
It really felt like it.
I
mean,
just a few weeks, but they're finished now, and we'll go. The Chiefs will go into mandatory minicamp starting next Tuesday. 3 days next Tuesday.
I mean, we'll see how mandatory it is.
But in between OTAs and next week mandatory minicamp, there's a big event in Kansas City, the Big Slick, and that was the topic du jour with Patrick Mahomes, Chiefs quarterback. Let's hear from Patrick Mahomes speaking about the Big Slick softball event that he'll play in on Friday.
You're actually going to play in the softball game, is that right?
Yeah, I got the okay. So yeah, I will be in the softball game. Hopefully, I can hit some home runs. So I don't have to run around the bases, and then maybe play outfield out there somewhere.
Now you don't have to be competitive.
I'm gonna try not to be. So I'm gonna try to just take it easy, enjoy it. I get to see a lot of good people and build some great relationships.
Rob Riggle the other day, the actor, says there's a lot of celebrities coming in and they want to meet you. In a year's time, you've kind of gone from this college quarterback to really someone that even celebrities want. Just what has that been like for you over the course of the year?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely cool getting to meet a lot of people that you've seen on TV, that you've seen kind of growing up. But at the same time, I feel exactly the same. I feel like the same guy as I was last year. I love to get out in the community and just be a part of it. And then, of course, being able to play some sports and do some stuff like that is always fun.
Have you called dibs on a position in the softball game yet?
I have not. I'm just going to put them wherever they can put me wherever they want. Hopefully the outfield somewhere. I haven't taken a ground ball in a couple of years now, so hopefully I can just be shagging out in the outfield.
What is it you like so much about getting out to events like the Final Four and the Stanley Cup? And how are you making these decisions? You got a lot on your plate to sort through.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a thing where I talk to the guys about it, usually Kelsey and guys like that. Sherm was at the game with us, and Cole quit. But it's awesome to me to kind of go to these like high sporting events that I've watched my whole life. More than, I guess you would say, going to concerts and doing stuff like that. I like kind of going to these Stanley Cups. I wish I could have made the NBA Finals, but it's really far away. And then the Final Four. I mean, it's really cool to kind of see these events that I've watched my whole entire life and be there in person to see it.
No Women's World Cup. You can't get over to Paris.
There was a chance I was going to be able to make it, but I didn't get to make it this year. I was very excited about it. Of course, my girlfriend played soccer, so I've watched it growing up, but I didn't get to make it this year.
Okay, Brooks, so now we know that he's probably going to play the outfield.
Yes. Also, softball, approved activity. Basketball, not approved.
Not approved by the Chiefs, which is probably a pretty smart move, although we have seen him playing basketball.
We have. Also,
It's actually in my gym. The Lifetime Fitness in Overland Park. He was in there with Garrick Dieter, and it's funny how that worked.
Yeah.
Garrick Dieter was the one that went to the front desk and sort of made the arrangement with the front desk people. Hey, Patrick Mahomes is here. And they let
Eric
him, they
Dieter,
let him-
ultimate hype man.
They let him inside of a side door, and all of a sudden there was Patrick Mahomes playing basketball,
Hooping it up
in the gym.
And then he never did again
Right.
because that video went viral. And
But softball is okay. As
Softball
long
is
as he plays
okay.
the outfield, he's not an infielder where he can get a bad bounce off
Lord,
of his
that is the last
eyeball
thing
or
they
something.
need.
But this is going to look. I think it's neat that he's doing it. It's a fun event, and the thing that occurred to me, and it's something he said, it was asked about and said, was he'll probably be the biggest celebrity there at an event that's full of celebrities. And we're always kind of. I've been to the game, the event. It's fun to see, the stars in softball uniforms. But he's going to be, he's going to be the one that people want to take their picture with, which is kind of a unique thing.
I mean, speak for yourself. If there's a line for Paul Rudd, I will be at the very front of it.
That's because you see Patrick Mahomes every day.
That's true. That's true. I actually last week when we saw Patrick Mahomes, or 2 weeks ago when he had his Asterisk Collective event. We had seen him earlier that day, and then I saw him at that event, and he walked up to me and he said, "Man, long time no see," and it had been all of 2 hours. So yes, I do see Patrick Mahomes quite a bit. But yeah, he is a bona fide celebrity, and it's kind of weird to have that in Kansas City, living here full time, and in an event where you have guys flying in from Hollywood, New York, wherever they're filming, Rob Riggle, Eric Stone Street, Selena Gomez, like all of these people. Patrick Mahomes is the guy that is the most relevant to people here, and people really across the country. And this has happened, just in the span of a year. This time last year, yeah, he was a big deal, but he wasn't a headline or the big slick by any means.
No, he wasn't. And you're right. What a difference a year makes. And it was his response to another question. I think it was Vahe Gregorian, our friend and colleague, asked about his travels to sporting events. I saw him at the Final Four, and he got a lot of CBS love there. And of course, he was at the Stanley Cup last week, the game in St. Louis, and the NBC cameras were all over him. And
of course,
Travis Kelce there. He's really taking advantage of his ability to do this. I think it's great. I'll tell you why I think it's great. That it would be one thing for him to kind of act big time, act the role of the big time, and you might shake your head at that. But you and I saw him at practice today, and he threw an interception, and he was pissed.
Yeah.
And an OTA interception that deflected off of somebody.
I was going to say, it wasn't even his fault. He had 2 interceptions. Neither were his fault. And he was still, you would have thought it was an October practice. He was ticked.
Yes, or an October game.
An October game, yeah. My favorite thing about Patrick Mahomes going to all these sporting events is that he's living out what he really loves. It's in talking with his agents, I've talked to them about this pretty frequently, that how cool it is that he's at Royals games and at the racetrack and at soccer games, and they're like, I asked them why, and they're like, he just really loves sports. And it's just as simple as that. Like, he's doing, and he said today, I want to go to the things that I grew up watching. I want to go to the Stanley Cup. I want to go to the Final Four.
He wanted to go to the NBA finals.
He said, the finals are too far away, which is understandable there in California and Toronto. So, yeah, it's a bit of a haul.
Same with Paris.
Yeah, he wants to go to the World Cup. His girlfriend, Brittany, is a former soccer player, so it makes sense that they would want to go, but that's not going to work out. But, yeah, he said more than wanting to go to concerts or shows or anything like that, he'd rather go to sporting events, which if I had, Patrick Mahomes' access and money, that is 100% what I'd want to do is go to all these sporting events.
Not to mention his plane deal, his private jet deal.
That's pretty sweet.
I would, he said he'd love to have gone to we asked him if he was going to go to Game 5, which is tonight in the Stanley Cup Finals in Boston. He said, no, couldn't get there. I'm thinking, yeah, you could.
Right? They do. He has a partnership with a company here in Kansas City, and they could get him there,
or to Paris, or to Toronto, or to Oakland.
Exactly.
I think he could do all that. But
you're Patrick Mahomes. You're the NFL MVP. If you want to go to Boston, you can go to Boston.
Yeah, but maybe there's some Chiefs stuff that he has to be back
That's
for.
True.
and the timing worked out for him on the other.
I mean, he
events.
needs rest for the celebrity softball game. He's got to put his best foot forward.
That's right.
He wants to hit home runs. He doesn't want to run the bases.
I love that.
He just
answer,
wants to
too.
hit home runs.
Right. That's his plan. His game plan is to hit home runs so he can just walk around the bases.
I feel that.
essentially. Yeah.
Just, take your sweet time.
So I think I was talking to someone earlier. The big concern is him maybe playing defense, having to cover a base, and Eric Stonestreet coming in cleats up.
I mean, anything's possible.
Yeah.
I think Eric Stonestreet would cradle him as he fell. Eric Stonestreet wants to do nothing to put Patrick Mahomes in harm's way.
Yeah, that would be the end of Big Slick, I think.
Yeah.
There'd be another way to raise money for Children's Mercy. If
We'll have a
Mahomes is
silent
injured this
raffle.
one. Well, speaking of the offense, there was just a tiny piece of news today that Travis Kelce probably going to miss the mini camp next week, but should be back for training camp in late July in St. Joe. Not a big revelation, but it was nice to hear.
Right. It was nice to hear a timeline.
Yeah, get a timeline for that. And to be honest with you, when I saw him at the Final Four, he was walking around without a boot. The boot was off by then, and we've seen him at practice.
I feel like this is just a precautionary thing. Why rush him back?
Right, exactly. Maybe overly cautious. And look, if you're a veteran who has been through OTAs and training camp, and you want to tell the team, look, I just think let's be a little.
And
let's
he's
err
out
on the
there
side
at
of
OTAs.
caution.
It's not like he's hanging out at a beach somewhere. He's been out
That's
there
right.
every single day,
Which has been really cool of him to be there every day and help out. And
today he had on gloves. Also, he had on no helmet, obviously no pads, but tennis shoes. And then he was wearing like catching gloves, and I was like, what are you?
as hot as it was out there today.
Why would you do that?
Oh.
But I mean, I think it shows he's like, hey, if you want to throw me the ball, I'll catch a pass. Hey, I'll be I want to be just a little bit involved.
Tight end position was rather thin today.
It was Kelce out, Deion Yelder, Blake Bell, which I didn't see Blake Bell out there. I was positive that he wasn't there. And then somehow I looked down on my paper and he was checked off. And I was like, oh, well, I guess I did see him. And then at the end of practice, Andy said, nope, Blake Bell, not here. Not that I think Blake Bell's going to be a major player here, but I mean...
No Belldozer.
Yeah, no Belldozer. But that left the Chiefs with David Wells, John Lovett, and then a new guy that they signed
Kaiser
last week. Yep,
I think it's
Nick
pronounced
Kaiser.
Kaiser from second-year pro from Grand Valley State,
Yep.
Division II program, who actually comes with some. He's good size and comes with some nice credentials. And Andy Reid made sure to mention him today.
Yeah, he looked pretty good today from what we could see.
Like I said, big guy. We'll see what his prospects are next week.
I mean, he's got a good chance of getting a lot of playing time in minicamp with all these injuries.
All of a sudden, that tight end position, which has been so good to the Chiefs over the years, is pretty thin.
Chiefs are wishing they had Demetrius Harris right now. They hadn't let him walk in free agency.
Maybe.
I mean, I was going to say he's a proven body, but he's also a proven dropper of passes. Yes. So
yes, he is.
But he's more of a veteran, though, and more of a known quantity, at least, than some of these other guys. And some of these other guys, I mean, haven't seen a field in a long time, if ever.
Right. So we heard from Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, and we heard from several other Chiefs today. And I thought one of the more interesting bites of sound came from Tyrann Mathieu, the safety who the Chiefs acquired in the offseason. I just thought he kind of spoke from the heart when it came to being a leader. And we will hear from Tyrann Mathieu right after we take a break on Sports Beat KC. Hey, it's Blair Kerkhoff, and if you're listening to this, you love Kansas City sports, whether it's the Chiefs, Royals, Sporting, Mizzou, KU, or K-State. And no one covers these teams like the Kansas City Star. If you currently subscribe to the paper or have a digital subscription, thank you for your support. And if you don't, here's a great offer. It's called Sports Pass, unlimited digital access to every sports story and video on kansascity.com. And it's just $30 for the first year. It's the best sports value in town, just 8 cents a day or $2.50 a month. You can't beat that. Subscribe now at kansascity.com/sportspass.
When the team traded for Lee, I think you tweeted out something that was something like, I'm going to lift this kid up. Why is it important for you to lead young guys like that?
I mean, I think this is our sanctuary. This is our safe haven, and I mean, the world outside of this can be, a lot harder, a lot tougher than we expect it to be. And so, I think me as a leader, me as a guy that's been cut, been humiliated, embarrassed. I mean, whatever you can, put on it. I think it's important to just embrace the guys around you, really support them, encourage them, and then kind of give them that confidence that they let them know that you believe in them, and hopefully they'll get to believing in themselves again.
Keep hearing about how you guys like you and Frank getting out there, getting after it in practice. Just what kind of identity are you guys trying to establish here?
I mean, just really trying to, build a defense with an attitude. I think anytime you can have, 10, 11 guys, with a chip on their shoulder, with an edge, a certain kind of presence, certain kind of attitude, kind of swagger, you could create a collective identity. And I think that's really, what we're trying to do. Definitely not trying to do nothing that, outside of our, characteristics. I think all of us, both of us really, I think we wake up each and every day, and we live that way, just with an attitude and a chip on our shoulder. And, like I said, it could rub off on the guys around you.
So that was pretty strong stuff by Tyrann Mathieu.
I felt like he kind of took us to church there when he started in about football. This is our sanctuary here. I mean, I wanted an organ to go and the choir and the robes come out behind him. I mean, you're right. He was speaking from the heart. And I think that that's what the Chiefs have kind of been missing a little bit, at least in this last year. Eric Berry, I wasn't around, but from a distance, Eric Berry was that guy. And for all we know, and for all intents and purposes, he was still that guy last year, but he wasn't able to do it on the field. Now you've got a guy in Tyrann Mathieu that can be encouraging, be uplifting, be a leader off the field and on the field, and back it up with this just dynamic play, versatile play, and being a real difference maker. And I think that that's going to pay dividends for the Chiefs in this season.
Think about the situation that the Chiefs defense is in. He's a newcomer, so you would think it would be difficult for a newcomer to be that sort of leader on the team. But look at what the Chiefs are. The whole defense is
They're
new,
brand
just
new.
About.
Yeah, pretty much. And I thought it was interesting, too, that he said, he was asked, have you always been this way? And he said, no, I'm normally like a pretty quiet guy. And he's really stepped into a vocal role. And I think part of that's out of necessity. And part of that's out of a desire to grow as an individual and grow as a player. And you can really see him taking charge.
He also mentioned building an attitude on this defense.
Swagger.
Kind of swagger. And look, I'm sure if we were podcasting about any of the other 31 teams in the NFL, we might hear the same thing. But I don't remember hearing that in previous years with the Chiefs this time of year. Well, for one thing, the leaders of the defense weren't here. Eric Berry wasn't at OTAs. Justin Houston did not attend OTAs. And Marcus Peters one year missed OTAs. So you didn't have the leaders here. We know that the Chiefs are missing one of their leaders and best players in Chris Jones. But the fact that they've got Frank Clark and Tyrann Mathieu and Xavier Williams and Hitchens and Ragland, and they do have a core of guys that are back, all getting used to the new defense and the new defensive coordinators, and I think it's everybody sort of. Look, it's going to take time. It is. It's just going to take time for this defense to come together. But at least they're all sort of on the same page. It's all new to everybody.
Right. And I think one thing that that Tyrann said that was striking and that really made an impact on me was I asked him about Juan Thornhill and how their chemistry was and how the chemistry for the DBs as a whole was going. And he said, that's something that we're really going to work on during training camp. And training camp's going to reveal a lot. And so will the preseason games. And so will probably the first 4 games of the regular season, which I think is important because he's reminding people, hey, you want an instant fix, but it's not instant. There's a process to this. And so yeah, it could take as long as 4 games into the regular season to really see this defense mesh. So, hey, everybody, the defense is getting better, but temper those expectations. It's an evolution, and they're in the very early stages of that, and it may not happen, by week 1. There still may be some growing pains. And so I think that was his way of being like, look, we got it. We're working on it. We'll get there. Just, bear with us.
One player that we didn't see today was Juan Thornhill, the rookie safety who was out with an injury. Don't worry.
Calf
tweak. Not to worry. I'm sure we'll see him next week. I shouldn't say I'm sure. I'm not sure.
I mean,
we'll
we
see
all
him next
thought we'd
week,
see
but-
Sammy Watkins the week after
Yeah,
Cleveland, and we didn't.
We
but
did. But we did see Sammy Watkins today.
We did. We did see
after
Sammy
missing last
Watkins
week.
today.
And Damian Williams.
Yep.
Right. So we'll see if Juan Thornhill's there next week. But it's not I don't think it's a long-term thing. It's just a mispractice. So we didn't get to see him today, but we did see McCole Hardman, the other second-round pick of the Chiefs. Hardman, the wide receiver from Georgia, and he was asked about adjusting to Patrick Mahomes as his quarterback. Let's hear what he had to say about that.
Has he been throwing the deep ball to you more?
Yeah.
Recently, how has that been working out?
It's coming along. I'm starting to run, not slowing down. It's different, coming like with his arm. He can get it to you everywhere on the field. So it's kind of not most quarterbacks can do that, and he can do that. So just again, used to I could be 50, 60 yards down the field, and he still can lead me. So we're definitely trying to get it right. The chemistry right with it. So, but it's coming.
So I thought that was kind of fun. Not many wide receivers in the NFL have to keep running after 60 yards with the quarterback with the arm strength of Patrick Mahomes.
You've got to make sure you're not skipping conditioning with Patrick Mahomes. And the funny thing is, I talked with McCole's dad last week, with both of his parents last week, for a story that I'm working on that will hopefully come out next week. And I asked him, how's your son adjusting to the NFL? And he said, man, he calls us and he just says, Dad, they're making us run so much. I just run all the time. And I mean, there's a good reason for that, because with Patrick Mahomes, you always just don't stop running. And Pat's even tweeted that at McCole. And we saw in OTAs last week, one time McCole stopped running and didn't get the pass, and Patrick went deep and missed it. So he's learning. But one thing I thought that was important that Andy Reid keeps saying is that McCole, like Patrick, doesn't make the same mistake twice. That he may run a route very poorly the first time around, but he'll come over to the side, he'll get coaching, whether it's from Patrick or Greg Lewis or Andy Reid, and then he goes out and does it again. He's corrected it. And I think that that's a huge thing for a rookie to be able to do.
I'll tell you, I'm still waiting for that moment when Hardman gets behind the defense on a for a 60-yard in the air pass. We haven't seen that yet. When Mahomes has gone deep to him, there's usually been pretty decent coverage. And Hardman's the supposedly world-class speedster, and I'm kind of waiting to see him turn on the jets.
Right.
You weren't here, but 4 years ago we saw Tyreek Hill during OTAs, and the speed was eye-opening, and he was getting behind the defense. So it's just OTAs.
I mean, maybe it speaks to the quality of the defense.
Perhaps it does. Maybe they're lining up a little deeper. They know it's coming. We'll maybe. And I think next week's will be a more fair example of what the Chiefs are about with mandatory minicamp. So that's next week.
That is next week.
Mandatory minicamp.
Got 3 days: Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yes, and unlike these OTAs, we'll be there for all of them. The media, it's open to the media for all 3 days. And, of course, the big storyline is going to be where's Chris Jones?
I mean, are we just going to have to camp out at the facility overnight Monday to be there bright and early Tuesday morning?
Absolutely, we are.
Counting cars as they come in.
Yep. Chiefs have had guys, like we mentioned earlier, miss not only OTAs but minicamps before. I don't think it's the end of the world. But with the new defense and the new coordinator, new position coach, I just think it's in Chris Jones' best interest to be at this part of practice, even if it's only a week. And even if he is here, he would be limited because he wasn't here for the previous month.
Just show up. Just be here.
Here. Show that you're, that you're invested in this.
And the Chiefs, in turn, also need to invest in Chris Jones. This is a two-way situation. You do want your star defensive player to be here, but you also need to pay him and make it worth his while because, I mean, he deserves this extension if the Chiefs want to be as good as they possibly can, and he's going to be a key member of that defensive line. So they need to lock that down. And they have some more cap space freed up now also. With Eric Berry's contract off the books, they got, $9 million more freed up? So they've got some wiggle room here. It's time to get that done.
Has he been tweeting? Have you noticed? Has he been on social media?
Chris Jones,
he was a few weeks ago. He would.
Yes.
We'd see his tweets from South Florida where he was working out. But
let's see. I'm going to pull up the old handy dandy iPhone.
The Twitter machine.
The Twitter machine. He tweeted 9 hours ago, "Stay focused, stay true, keep that passion, you will get there." And then tagged JJ Watt.
Okay.
And he tweeted out a Bible verse. He's very religious in his tweets, but he hasn't tagged his location recently. But we've seen videos of him training in Florida still. So, I mean, he's not resting on his laurels, but he also isn't in Kansas City.
On the one hand, it's I don't think it rises to a huge, an alarm type of concern if he's not at minicamp. If he's not at training camp, that's a different story.
Then we're all going to be on Chris Jones' watch.
Yep. And but on the other hand, again, with all the newness going on the defensive side, I just think symbolically, if nothing else, it would be, even, as you said, even if he was just on the sideline or working with the second team, getting used to things.
Spend some time with Brendan Daly.
Yes.
He's a gem. I learned that in my story.
It was a great story, by the way.
Just going to quick plug that. Thank you.
That'll be in the show notes.
Yeah, it's on kansascity.com about Brendan Daly, new Chiefs defensive line coach and run game coordinator.
Facebook.com/Red Zone Extra and the Red Zone app.
Highly recommend.
You'll hear
Give
that
it a
later.
read. But yeah, I mean, Brendan Daly, I would say hilarious guy. Hilarious stories about him that I really enjoyed learning. In the story, you will read about how he headbutted another helmet before a game.
Is that how it happened? Is that where the blood came from?
I didn't get to talk to him about it, but I talked with Sean Spencer, who coached with him at Villanova, and he said he must have headbutted a helmet. We don't exactly know how it happened, but all of a sudden there was just blood gushing down
as he's running onto the field as a coach.
Yes, not a player, a coach. And then later on, he at his first NFL training camp with Minnesota, they had bikes at Mankato State that they would ride from the dorms to the practice facility. And somehow or another, early in his time there, he wrecked his bike into a fire hydrant and was scratched from his face, his arms, his legs. So he's a bit of a wild man.
Yes, it was a good story. Please go read it if you haven't. So Hootie's in the cage.
Hootie's in the cage. He's in the crate. He's he was sleeping through the night, and then I jinxed it because the other night my husband and I were talking about how lucky we were that we got such a easy to train dog, and I kid you not, the next morning he woke up at 4. So that was his way of giving us the middle paw. But he's great. My folks get into town tonight.
Yes. So
they will meet Hootie.
Yes, your folks are coming in from North Carolina. They're driving in. I've made that drive, bless their hearts.
They stopped in Paducah last
Kentucky.
night.
Right.
They stopped at Ozark Land today, which who knew what that was?
I think that's Kingdom City, Missouri. But all right, so when your parents come, they're going to stay.
They are staying with us.
Okay.
At least for one night, and then they may decide that they would rather stay in a hotel because all I have is an air mattress. Bless their hearts.
And a couple dogs.
The guest room is also my closet because I have a lot of clothes. So they are just, it's 5-star accommodations.
Yeah. So they'll be in the hotel on night 2, I can assure you.
Yes, I will probably have to give them some Marriott points just to say sorry. Thank you for making the drive. I apologize that our accommodations are not quite up to snuff.
Well, it's nice that they're here, and hope you have a great weekend with your folks and the dogs and Teddy. We'll
probably go to Big Slick tomorrow for at least to the softball game. TBD on the event Saturday night.
Yeah, be right down the street from you.
I know we could walk, so we will see. But I mean, who am I to deprive them of an opportunity to see not only Patrick Mahomes, but Jason Sudeikis and Eric Stonestreet and Rob Riggle and Paul Rudd.
And David Koechner.
Couldn't say that name.
And all of them. And a bunch
all
of them. We ran a list of the photos, and it's just, 30 or so celebs. And
Heidi Gardner.
What a great...
love her.
Love Heidi Gardner. Another local.
Yep.
I mean, she should be part of the Big Slick. There should be 6 instead of 5. She should be part of that.
She's hilarious.
Yep.
If you haven't watched her on SNL, her character bits on Weekend Update are my favorite. So, highly recommend. That's my plug for SNL. SNL, if you would like to give me tickets to attend the show, I will gladly continue to pump you up on this podcast.
And a Heidi Gardner for sure.
Exactly.
All right, Brooke, you have a great weekend, and we'll see you again next week.
See ya.
Links to the stories we discussed can be found on kansascity.com, facebook.com/RedZoneExtra, and the Red Zone Extra app. And check out all of the Stars' coverage of Big Slick, a fun weekend and wonderful event that benefits Children's Mercy Hospital. Thanks to our producers, Kathy Liu and Leah Becerra, and to you, our listeners. We'll talk Kansas City sports again soon on Sports Beat KC, the Kansas City Stars sports podcast.